We're going to talk tonight about the additions happening at High Point, and they will begin this month. I want to start by just thanking you for supporting issue 22, which was approved in November of 2020. A big part of our phase 2 projects is to build extra space to welcome new families moving into our district. We did a demographic study and we are growing gradually, but it's picking up pace. And some of the developments out in Jefferson Township have actually finished early. So several folks I've talked to were supposed to move into their homes in January and they're actually moving in now. And so it's exciting to welcome new families in, but we need to have space. And so both Blacklick and High Point right now are burgeoning at the seams. And so we're going to start the High Point project with building our classroom wing. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But the project is really to address our overcrowding, provide extra learning spaces for future growth and the growth we're experiencing now, to eliminate the need for modulars, to increase office space, small group tutoring space, and cafeteria space, and also related art spaces. So our GJPS team has been working really hard. I want to thank our Assistant Superintendent, Jill Elliott, our Business Director, Scott Lofton, Aaron Winter, who manages special projects. Aaron and Scott are with us tonight. Sue Wigging, our Special Education Director, has been a big part of this project. Kristen Groves at Blacklick. I can't say enough about what Kathy Earhart has done in the midst of the pandemic and all that goes with it. With being a principal, she has spent copious amounts of time with us, and just her attention to detail on these projects has been incredible. And so that's why we're at the point we're at and we're able to begin. Brad Barboza at East, Robin Murdoch at Middle School South, and Steve Tart at Middle School West are also in the midst of planning addition projects. And Jessica Williams, our high school principal, she's in the midst of planning for a high school that's going to be close to 500,000 square feet. So we have a lot of work to do, and we're excited that we're getting started with these two elementary projects, Blacklick and High Point. I want to introduce members of our architectural team who are here with us tonight, and also our construction team. So like I said, Aaron Winter and Scott Lofton from our district are here, but we also have Matt Mcmanus from Resilient Construction, along with Ken Garrett Miller and Ken Marvin. They're going to be much a part of these projects. And we have Mike Hilton, who's from Turner Construction. He is our owner's rep. From Shore Architects, we have Paul Miller. And our DLR team, which is our lead architects, we have Jennifer Davey and Claire Lonsberry. Did I miss anyone? Oh, we also have Susie Livingston from Resilient Construction. So our plan for High Point includes building spaces so we can have 5 sections for each grade level. We're going to increase the size of our kindergarten spaces. We're going to provide for some smaller, flexible learning spaces to supplement students with support. We're going to increase storage for classroom materials and custodial supplies. We're expanding cafeteria seating, adding restrooms, a new gymnasium, additional art and music spaces, a dedicated smart lab. When students are having a difficult emotional moment, there'll be a place for them to go, calm down, do some relaxation techniques so that they can get back to learning. And we're going to increase parking. This project will happen in 2 phases. The first phase will be our classroom spaces, and DLR architects will go over that and talk about when the gymnasiums and art room related art spaces come online. I'm going to turn it over to Ken Mcmanus from Resilient Construction, and he's going to talk about safety and all the precautions they're going to take on the job site. So Matt, I'll stop sharing my screen if you want to share yours.
Sure. Again, my name is Matt Mcmanus. I'm the project manager for the elementary schools thank you again for the opportunity to the district and to the people of the district for supporting this project. We're pretty excited to be here tonight. And again, I think it's really good, important that we share the safety aspects and what you can expect to see what's going to happen in construction. As always, safety is first when it comes to construction. Our most major and most important focus is going to be on the students, safety of the students, the faculty and the staff, as well as our own staff and construction people. We will keep a diligent watch on everything that happens on this project as far as safety and traffic control, whether it be vehicular or whether it would be bus traffic, parent teacher, or any foot traffic. I think what we'll do at this time, I'm going to introduce our team. For High Point, it's going to be Garrett Miller is going to be the on-site superintendent. He will be on site throughout the entire project. Susie Miller is going to support him as a project engineer and myself as project manager. I think at this time right now, what we can do is I'll share. I think it's important for Garrett to walk through the plan and start to walk through the beginning of where we're going to start and what you're going to expect to see. Garrett, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks to everybody else too for the opportunity to be part of this meeting. As Matt said, we appreciate it a lot. We want to keep everyone in the community involved during this whole process. Rensselaer Construction is very excited to be part of the Gahanna School projects. So kind of getting into the site logistics here. Let's start with the academic wing. I think, Matt, we could zoom in on that a little bit. This is sort of what we're calling amongst the team is sort of like phase one, right? So this is the first part of the puzzle, and this is what we'd like to get started on as soon as next week. Obviously, it's really important that we provide you guys with this academic wing for later on throughout next year. Right now, we're looking at starting in November, and this would turn over, by early August of next year, this coming year. While we're sort of looking at that site, Matt mentioned, safety, and that is our number one core value that we strive to instill in everybody that works on our job. So if you look at the blue area and the little red sort of hash marks around that, what that's showing is that's showing the separation fencing that's around our construction site. So it's something that we'll always maintain throughout the project for both the academic wing and some of the other areas we're going to get into. We'll have signage up, we'll have fencing to separate, and we will have gates that will be locked when we're not on site doing construction. Kind of along the same lines right there, if you could drop down to the turnaround area, Matt, what we want to make sure everyone's aware of, that we're cognizant of, especially for the staff and the parents as well, is we understand that everybody has drop-off areas, and there's times in the morning and there's times in the afternoon where we've already committed to telling our subcontractors that there's going to be certain times of the day where we cannot impede drop-off and pickup of the students. So we have those hours. If at any time we would need to adjust them, we will. But right now, what our plan is to keep any of our construction deliveries within times that won't impede picking up or dropping off students. So that's really important to us. Another safety feature, looking at the academic pad right there, if you see the yellow highlighted area where it says temporary emergency egress plan. So this is something we work with the fire department on. If at any time there would be an emergency in the school, we would have a safety area for students to be able to leave the building and not be around the construction. So this would be sort of an enclosed area. So that's another thing we do to always ensure that, if an emergency would come up, we have a way to safely get kids out of the building. As well, I wanted to kind of, mention before we go to the next area, another thing that we will make sure happens is all people who are working on our site, they're going to have a background check, right? So it'll be like anyone else working for the school districts. That's something that we have them do before they're obviously even on site. So just another thing we wanted to sort of throw out to everybody so everyone's aware So that sort of is looking at the academic wing, phase one. If we could go to the back, Matt, and look at the gymnasium part. And so again, you'll see another laydown area with some red fencing around it. This will be something that, just like the academic wing, will be maintained at all times, so that there's always a separation between construction, our parking for our subcontractors, any material we have, always keeping it separate of the students. There is another road you can sort of see that's wrapping around the back, much like Blacklick had. So this, when we start this phase, we'll have some more signage out front there. We'll have another set of gates. And what we've really tried to do is maintain construction access without impeding as much as possible the entryway on the blacktop that currently exists right now. So it's something that we're really cognizant of. I've been at the schools in the morning and in the afternoon. I know how busy it gets at both of these locations. But going back to the gymnasium, you can see we're going to have our trailer set up back there. All the blue that you're seeing is just sort of a lay down area for us during construction while we're putting the new addition to the gymnasium in. I think one of the last things we sort of want to look at, Matt, if we're able to pull it up, is the summer work. So one of the things, High Point, has some additional interior renovation work. And right now what we're doing is we're working with DLR and the design team to sort of see, how much of this is part and parcel to the summer of 22, and if any of it is going to be parceled out to the summer of 23, potentially. Our goal is to make sure that not only can we get the work done on the inside, but that you're left with a quality product at the end of it. So we definitely want to make sure that we can have all that ready for the teachers and the staff. But right now we do have summer work starting this coming summer, and that will be really similar to the Blacklick site. You can see the highlighted areas that Matt's on right now for summer renovation. One of the sort of additional, I think, items with this is if you look up at the top where it says renovation for summer of 22 through September, that's the new art and music area. So right now, you have an existing gymnasium in there. So that's where that part is going to sort of take place. So those will have slightly different dates. But again, it's so that we can sort of hopscotch everything and keep everyone moving and keep the students where they need to be. Did I miss anything, Matt, or anything else we should add?
Just the gym area right here. It's going to go through December.
Yeah, thank you. So the gymnasium area, an easy way to remember this is I would just think December to December, right? So we would start the gymnasium area December of this year, and then that would go through the following December to have that all wrapped up. So, yeah.
Thanks, Garrett. I think one of our, everyone should know that one of our issues is supply chain issues with ordering structural steel. It's something like 14 months out. And during the pandemic, they stopped making the materials to make the steel. And then they, eventually ran out of it and stopped making the actual structural supports for large roofs like gymnasiums. And so we need to provide the time for that to get in the queue to order that. So it's 14 months out. That's why, as Garrett was talking about, we have to do this project in 2 phases. But we will have our classroom wing in time for the 22 school year, August of 22. And then in December of 22, we will start the related arts and gym spaces and have those by the June of 23, right? And so hopefully it'll be, we'll be able to overcome some of the supply chain issues. It's a difficult time to build, but we're definitely excited to get started. Are there any questions, Kathy, from the group there tonight at High Point about safety or anything that Garrett went over?
Where are the playgrounds and gym going to be during this? Did you hear Mr. Barrett?
We did. Does
Yes.
Scott or Aaron, do you want to tackle
Yeah.
that, or someone from Russilli? It's a little bit
Matt-
different from from Blackwick, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, Matt, can you pull up your,
Yeah, sure. If I can pull that back on me, I'm sorry. Let me go back to that.
yeah, so currently that area will be left open for for a playground access. And then also you have the open field just beyond that, the kids will be able to play in. The gym will it will be without a main gym for a couple months as we start the work. As we do the renovation next year in that gymnasium. So we'll have to work through, going outside, doing things outside, maybe doing things in the cafeteria when possible. So yeah, it's important for us to make sure we leave the an area for the students to be able to play and to get all that good energy out for a while.
Kath, I think you bring up a great point, and just to be totally transparent, there will be less equipment in the short term, but we do plan to remove that, and then it will be reinstalled in different locations, but still on site once all the building is complete.
Yes, I think it's stressed to us. We're going to leave as many play areas that we can until construction has to affect it.
So they're worried. So the question is, we don't have much blacktop. Are all the kids going out there at that time? Because the grass gets really wet back there. It's really swampy.
Yeah, we're going to leave as much blacktop space as possible. As we're putting the fence up, Russilli knows they're going to try to keep it as tight to the site as possible so it's safe. And we'll leave as much blacktop spots, for the youngsters, for the students to be able to play and get out and move and do all, play. They might end up playing a few more of the older games where kickball, things like that, but there'll be less playground equipment. But there will be some equipment still available to them.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, Kathy?
Yeah, on the original map, on the north end, there's not a sidewalk to have the kids walk up the hill into the building. I'm also, and I know Scott, we're meeting tomorrow about it, the exit on the north end, about 200 to 300 people come out that door at the end of the day. And I don't know where we will stage all of them. They can't go out the front door because that's where the other 300 kids come out when I'm loading buses, because I'm loading buses right along that curb. And I know we're going to talk about it, but I know that the parents are wondering the same thing. Right.
Yeah, Kath, I mean, as you can see, the sidewalk is still there. There has to be an egress there area for, based on fire code. So they'll still be able to come out there and line up on the sidewalk as they currently do.
No, they don't line up, but we'll talk about it because maybe
Okay.
I can put something in on to the north of there where the parents can wait.
Yeah, it is our plan to leave that sidewalk in front of our fence there, all intact,
Okay.
all the way through. And we could work, and Garrett will be working with you as well as our staff to make sure that we understand exactly what you're going to need for great detail for the bus load and unload.
Okay, great.
And, the other thing that's going to happen here too is Garrett and yourself are probably going to be doing huddles at certain times. We will really need to know exactly what happens even in the evenings sometimes, there is some work that sometimes does go on in evenings and weekends. So we will get to know each other's schedules.
That sounds great.
You might get tired of hearing from me, actually.
I look forward to huddling.
So do I.
So Kathy, if there's
What
some
other
more questions, we can take them. I wanted DLR to be able to show the final design, if
They're
that's
wondering-
okay.
They're wondering how loud it's going to be.
Oh, the construction? Okay. Matt, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so Garrett can back me up on this, but I mean, this is some of the items that if there's major demolition that's happening up against the building, we either, I mean, for most intents and purposes, when we're going to be working on the gym area, a lot of that major area where we're busting through to put the flex space in that Claire from DLR is going to show you. We're going to be doing that in the summertime. There is going to be some, construction vehicle traffic. Let's just put it this way. We will be in touch with each other with anything that would ever probably be a minor or a major noise issue. We're very aware of when your testing is, because again, these weekly and morning huddles that sometimes that will happen all the time. We're going to have to know exactly what your testing and requirements are for state testing or anything that's going on. And again, your events. So we're going to work together. We're to alleviate and get work done that we can get done before school starts or after school is dismissed.
Absolutely. And you'll find that, it sort of ebbs and flows, right? Typically, as a rule, with some exceptions, the further you get along into the project, the less noise is so much of a problem. Early on, like Matt said, there's going to be some construction traffic coming in and out. We'll have some heavy equipment that you'll hear at time to time, but we'll make sure that we're reaching out on a weekly basis, if not more than just once a week, so that we understand what the needs of the school are. And so that if you have any questions about what's coming up, or is there going to be anything that's particularly, disruptive, that we're communicating that with you.
They're asking, again, how long will we be out of service for gym?
So the gym is scheduled the existing gym is going to be taken over during the summer of 22. And it's going to be completed let's put it this way. You're going to get it back in December of 22. So basically through the month of, partial August, September, October, November, December, you'll be back in the gym. The existing gym is going to be renovated from the summer of 22 until September, the end of September. So that area, which is arts and music, is going to become your arts and music. That'll come over. That the substantial completion is at the end of September.
So Kath, during that time, we would want to adjust programming to try to be outside as much as possible when there's good weather, so that they will be able to perform the things that they do during gym outside.
The art room and music room won't be completed as well, and we are going to have 5 sections in all of those classes. How are you going to handle the influx of students but not enough related arts classrooms?
They're asking about related arts classrooms for art and for music.
We're gonna go through DLR's presentation of the building at some point, but the specific question about art and related arts classes, when will the additions come on? Or
Yeah, I think, Stephen,
Yes.
what they're asking is if they have additional sections of art and music, how are we going to handle that while the renovation is happening in that gym area? Is that right, Kath?
I didn't hear you, Scott.
So I think what the question was is if we have additional art and music classes, what are they going to do in that time period until the renovation is done in the new spaces?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
And then there's another question. Let me get it.
Well, with us having so many students and we don't have a lot of blacktop, is it possible to move the playgrounds before so the kids have places to play? And if they're going to,
Can you hear him, Scott?
if
Yes.
they're going to expand the blacktop, is it possible to expand the blacktop first so the kids have more room to play and move the playgrounds to where they're going to go so the kids have more places to play? Because we don't have much blacktop. You can't always use the grass. I didn't know if that would be something that would be possible to move the playgrounds, expand the blacktop first so the kids have more room to play back there while you're building all the gym spaces.
So I would defer to Russilli, but I think that part of the issue we'd run into is where the new playgrounds are going to go, a lot of that construction is going to be happening in those areas. So until that construction is complete, we couldn't finish the playgrounds.
I agree to that, Scott. The other part is right now, there is some changes happening at High Point with some of the stormwater. So I think as we finalize the design on that, and it's more or less a regulatory agency approving this, they're looking for some different requirements to be implemented. And I think that the design team is working pretty feverishly on that. We can probably look into that, but there's a lot of that area in the back that actually is going to be part of the stormwater construction zone at some point. That, again, we're going to keep as much, all the blacktop that we can. And this stormwater system that we are going to implement here is going to help with some of that sogginess that you're experiencing.
Another question that came up, is the climbing wall still going to be a part of the new gym? And I'm sure it will once it's completed. It's going to be a much bigger space and there'll be a lot more opportunity to enhance it with things like the climbing wall.
Any more questions? Have they considered pushing back the start of the school year so that we can have related arts and or gym time and playground use?
We have not considered that. It's really important. I mean, kids have missed so much school during the pandemic, but we will make any adjustments we can to ensure that kids can have playtime, but it's going to be tough. Hopefully we can do PE outside. I know in November and December, that'll be difficult. But the related arts classes it's going to be also kind of a tough road until those are finished, because we don't have the space to necessarily do that. Our growth will not be fully felt next year, but we will do sort of phase 2 of our redistricting plan. So the numbers will be a little bit higher next year at High Point. So, honestly, this is going to be a difficult couple of months. We appreciate if people could be patient, because this is not going to be, we don't want you to think that everything is going to be smooth in terms of playground use. There are going to be some things that we're going to miss, and it's going to be temporary. But once we're finished, it's going to be just a great addition. And the gymnasium is going to be much like the new gymnasium we just built at Lincoln Elementary. And we're hoping we're going to be able to use that for after school things. So Pee Wee basketball and things like that. It's going to be a really great space, but we're going to have to kind of bide our time until they can get it done so we can get the structural steel we need to complete it.
How can PE take place on our blacktop? What space outside?
How can we have PE and recess simultaneously?
Art, music.
And
Music on our small blacktop. Have you looked at our blacktop? It's small. We can't fit all the students currently on it, let alone like 600, all the classes plus our size increasing next year.
Yeah, we can take a look and see if we can problem solve some of these issues with Russilli construction. And I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do. I know it's a very tight space and we want to leave as much blacktop and as much space for play as we can. So Matt, do you think we can take a look at some of the questions that have come up and maybe just try to problem solve around them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely work with the staff and with Aaron, Scott, yourself, and Catherine and the team.
I mean, I don't know if what it would involve, Matt, adding some temporary, ground material. I don't know. I don't think we'd want to add blacktop, but something that would allow kids to play, wood chips, something. I'm not sure.
Mulch. Yeah,
Mulch,
there's a certified mulch system that could be possibly used as well too.
yeah, because we need more space out back if
Okay.
we're having recess and phys ed
Okay.
simultaneously.
Right.
Yeah,
another this
thing we need to look at is, and it will affect, it's a valid point, so August and September with related art sections. If there's 5 sections in all 6 grades, how many total sections there are, and it might involve some creativity in regards to spaces for 2 months or the half of August and September, a month and a half. And we are working through that same issue at our other elementary as well, that we're going through the same process. But those are all valid questions and concerns.
And we'll work on those.
I
Yes.
think they need to come see what the playground looks like currently in our overcrowded and then imagine with the added students next year.
Yeah, we know it's a very small playground and it's overcrowded.
Yeah, no, you guys are come out and we can talk through this.
Yeah. We'll try to work out what Matt talked about in terms of mulch. Maybe we can work some things out with that. I know they make a rubberized material and there's just regular mulch, right? So hopefully we can problem solve around some of these things. We know it's a very tight space.
I don't know.
Can we,
There,
I think many of you have seen the final design, but DLR is here and can give us just a quick run through of
I'll ask
the
that.
spaces. Is that okay?
Yeah, they're asking if we're gonna have kids' place in the fall still.
The kids play?
No, kids place.
The Y,
Oh,
the
kids'
Y
place.
program.
Now, so what we've started to do is work through all the uses at both Blacklick and High Point, and we're basically shutting down both of those schools to be able to get the work done we need. We want to, like the summer programs, Kathy, that are there. We just want to avoid having people there while we're doing the construction. So we'll move them to a different school for the next year.
There's a question that was typed in. And I can't see it from my screen.
Can you see it, Steve?
I might be able to, yeah.
I can't see it.
Oh, I think it's about redistricting. If we can hold up on the phase 2 of that, we can check into that. I think, is that the question you're talking about, Kathy? I'm not sure if it's the same one.
I can't see the questions.
Yeah, so there's a question about redistricting and possibly holding off on the second part of that. I mean, our plan was to go ahead with it, but we can take a look at that as well. I think that's the question I saw, but I don't see another one. Any other questions, Kathy?
Not right now.
Okay, so we're gonna run through the design. Many of you may have seen it. There's been some slight changes. So Claire Lonsberry and Jennifer Davy are here from DLR. They will share their screen and go through the design. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Hi, I'm Claire Lonsberry. I'm an architect at DLR Group. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Can you see my screen with the site plan on it?
Yes.
Yes, great. All right, so this is the High Point site plan when the work is complete. Just note the north is to the left on this plan. We had to rotate it so it fits better on the screen. So you'll see here the 1 and the 2 red boxes are the additions. The 1 is the classroom addition, and then the 2 is the gymnasium addition. And off the classroom addition, classroom right now wing where you've got your K1 classes, you have the play area, the asphalt and playground. And so we're going to be moving those to be very similar location right off this classroom wing, which is K1 wing. So those will stay in that area. And then also where the gym addition is going is where that play area is right now, as we've discussed. And so that playground area is going to be pushed off this way, and then we'll be enlarging that asphalt area off the back. Where it currently is, we'll just be creating more of it and then putting that playground where the number 3 is here. Some unique features about the High Point site plan is that we're going to be generously enlarging the parking area to meet zoning requirements for the increased enrollment and staffing at the school. We have a large loop for student drop-off and for traffic flow patterns, as well as for loading when it needs to be done before and after school. We do also have an area here which it's called a grass pave, but it's mostly going to look like grass with a little bit of hard surface in it. That's for emergency vehicle access, fire department requirements there. So, and that will loop around the building here, but it'll look, like I said, mostly look like grass with a little hard surface there. But those are some of the unique features about the High Point site. We have the walking path currently is going to be reconnected over here, so it can still be a loop. And then some playing fields over on this part of the site. And then down here where you have your stormwater retention, you'll continue to have that in this part of the site. But like Matt had mentioned, there will be quite a bit of grading and site work to be done to make sure that we're keeping the site as dry as possible and the stormwater is being managed per city requirements. So I'll move over to the floor plan of the building. And you probably have already seen this, but if you haven't, this is the classroom wing addition. We have 3 new kindergarten classrooms directly adjacent to your 2 existing kindergarten classrooms. We have also the 5 new first grade classrooms, and then we have a couple extra spaces here on the classroom addition. A couple of the spaces you've got are larger flex spaces, we're calling them, off of the circulation. So you've got a kindergarten flex and a first grade flex. Those are meant for some small group learning, flexible classrooms, so teachers have an extra space to be able to use for teaching and learning, depending on their class needs and student needs. Moving over to the gym addition, it's mostly the gymnasium. We have a large storage area right directly off that gym, a large restrooms for increased capacity. Off of that existing cafeteria, we're going to be taking this area, parts of the wall where we have windows. We're going to be opening that up to 2 larger overhead doors that will open into this flex cafeteria, which is an orange box here on the screen. So that'll be the overflow cafeteria space that will be connected through those large openings. And then moving into the existing gym, where we're going to be renovating that existing gym to be a new art room, and then a new music room. And then in some of your special education classrooms, the pink on this plan are those classes. So the smart lab, the sensory, general intervention, that's what those colors mean in the plan. We're also going to be creating a kiln room. Right now, the kilns are freestanding in the art room, existing art room. So we're going to close those off, make them a separate room for the art teachers to access. And then we'll be doing a little bit of renovation work in the administrative area, enlarging that clinic, creating a new accessible restroom, and then just doing a little bit of shuffling in that area for an additional office. Any questions about that?
So we had a question about the cafeteria and how many people it seats, as well as when will that be done during construction so that we can be sure to feed the kids.
Yeah, the cafeteria seats about 45-ish. It's
45
48
kids?
kids, yes.
No, not the addition. I'm not the flex space, the major
Oh, I'm sorry.
cafeteria.
I was just talking about the flex space. So it's
I know you
45 is in
gave
addition
everybody
to
a
what you
heart
have.
attack
Sorry.
on that.
Your existing is like 16 tables of 12. What is that?
Yeah, okay.
I think. So we're increasing it. The flex cafeteria space is going to be increased at 25% onto what you currently have. We're adding 4 more tables of 12. So that's 48 actually.
And when will it be complete? If Roselli could answer that for me, or Mr.
So-
Barrett.
The flex space is part of the gymnasium work that goes through December of 22. Your entire cafeteria and your existing kitchen will be fully functional during all of your school months. So
Okay,
there
so
there
you're
is
not
some
gonna-
work.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not
sorry.
going to impact our current cafeteria.
No, we shouldn't.
So we'll have to
there's-
do some creative
Correct.
scheduling with that.
The only thing we'll be doing is just modifying emergency egresses, and we will do that in a safe way, and we will coordinate that with you and your staff.
Yeah, so I think with the additional capacity, you're right around 230 to 240 extra seats. I mean, total. Right now you're at 192, I think, Kathy.
Yes. Well, with COVID regulations, we don't seat that many.
Right,
We only have about 100 in there at the most.
right. Any other questions?
No, not at this time.
So we will look at trying to increase the play areas with some mulch of some form or another, and work on some of the things that the questions that were brought up today. Thanks for being here tonight and asking those questions. We're excited to begin, and I want to thank Kathy for you convening your PTO. This will be recorded, so if someone wasn't able to see it, it'll be on our master facilities website. We will also mail out what you saw, just a rundown of what you saw today. For parents that didn't get to see this, we'll send a mailer out so they know what to expect. And I want to thank DLR Architects, Shore Architects, and Roselli Construction for being here tonight and walking through this. We're excited to begin.